The Blue Jays were supposed to have Clayton Richard on the mound to round out the rotation and continue that scoreless inning streak by starters, but instead he goes on the DL for some arm stiffness or whatnot, whatever the heck the problem is with him. Hasn't even pitched a game and he's already on the DL. Okay. Reid-Foley gets the call up and in like the emergency start, and he really didn't look that good. Reid-Foley had 4 runs in the first inning, not help from his defense, though. Freddie Galvis made an error, and you're not going to hear that too often, guys. I mean, he only made 9 errors all last year. I mean, you could arguably say it's because of turf and all that kind of stuff, but he makes an error in the first inning. Reid-Foley only goes 2 innings, give up 4 hits, 5 runs, 3 were earned, 3 Ks, and 2 walks. He wasn't good. Bottom line, he gives up 4 spot in the first inning. You give up a sacrifice fly in the second inning. I mean, it's just not good. Meanwhile, the Jays' offense is nowhere to be found in the early goings, which has been a reoccurring theme all season. I just spit everywhere. In the first, I think they did the thing. Through the first 3 innings of games, the Jays have 1 hit. I think it was a Brandon Drury triple to start off the game against Detroit, and he didn't even come home to score. So you want to look at it that way. It's not a very good start, and I love the late night rallies and everything. It's great to see, but when you're down 6-0 because Trey Mancini then hits a home run in the 7th inning, that's great and all. But it's too little too late, right? Because you see Randall Grichuk in the bottom half of the 7th hit a 2-run shot. Justin Smoke comes in to score. All right, there you go. You got 2 back. I mean, you still got a long way to go, though. And then in the 9th inning, the Blue Jays start to rally. And I really question the Baltimore Orioles, as we do all the time, about why they use some of their bullpen guys. I mean, Michael Evans threw an inning 2/3 yesterday against the New York Yankees, so he's done. Miguel Castro was warming up in the bullpen. I'm not sure why he wasn't out there earlier, but hey, they won. They don't care. It paid off for them in the long run. But in the bottom of the 9th, Brandon Drury starts it off with a single, and we're like, all right, there you go. And then they bring in Blyer to pitch. And Smokey grounds out to the pitcher. They try the double play. Or excuse me. Yeah. So I mean, they get the 1 out. Bottom line, they get Smokey out at first, and they get a guy at second with 1 out. But I mean, you really don't care about that run at second base. They just need outs. They just want to keep that tying run at home plate. Next up, Randall Grichuk, and he hits a little blooper, and it goes off the glove. I think it was Jonathan VR. And it drops in. Brandon Drury, had to wait up, so he ends up at third base. Grichuk's boogieing around the bases because you never know. And he ends up at second base. Now that brings the tying run to the plate. And then Kevin Pillar, it's a sacrifice fly. Brandon Drury comes in to score. All right, tying run is still at the plate, but now there's 2 out. Next up, Teoscar Hernandez, and he kind of goes down and gets a pitch. It was a great job by Teoscar to get barrel the ball. Hits it into the gap. Dwight Smith Jr., former Blue Jay, lays out and misses it. 1 run comes in to score. Hernandez is boogieing around the bases, and he slides in safely at third, and he is at third with 2 out. You need a base hit to tie the game, and a home run or whatnot, or a home run to win it. Who's up? Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He has not got a hit this year. We know what he can do. And he strikes out on a high fastball. Ugh. We've talked about it in the Leafs and Raptor videos. Close, but a loss. We've talked about that many times before. But with the Blue Jays, we've learned to let this happen. We've really learned. With Lourdes Gurriel Jr., guys, I mean, really, I feel like he's pressing way too hard to do the big things. 2 of the 3 strikes he had against him weren't strikes. You could have grinded that at bat, and got on base maybe. And then keep it rolling here, because who would have been up after him? Danny Jansen. I mean, you never know. Give a guy an opportunity, you never know. And then a gapper could have won you a game instead of needing a home run. But instead, he's trying to do everything out there, and he's swinging out his rear, and he strikes out and ends the game. I'm not going to bash Lourdes because he's young, and he's young as a big leaguer, and he will get out of this. He will find himself. He's just got to get back to what he used to do, and that is swing at strikes. That's all, and make solid contact, because we know he can do it. Now, let's find positives, because you lost 6-5, it was 6-0, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck am I going to talk about? And then they get 5 runs, I'm like, yes, all right, content, beautiful. Randall Grichuk, guys, goes 2 for 4. Great to see him get a couple hits. Now, again, slow start to the year for him. Brandon Drury has consistently gotten hits for this team in just about every single game to start the year. He was 1 for 4 in the game today. Rowdy Tellez was 1 for 3, and I don't understand. Look, I love Charlie Montoya. I love his philosophies and everything, but I'm not quite sure why he pinch hit Kevin Pillar for Rowdy Tellez there in that final inning with 2 on and the tying run at the plate. You saw what happened yesterday. I don't know. You could have, maybe it was the lefty-lefty matchup, and Rowdy's not good against lefties, and all that kind of stuff. And they wanted to put the righty Kevin Pillar in there, which kind of does make sense now that I think about it. So you know what? I'm going to let Charlie off the hook there. And Teoscar Hernandez goes 1 for 4, obviously with the triple. Now, with Sean Reid-Foley not going that far, the Jays needed some help. And they go to guys like Thomas Pannone and Sam Gaviglio. Thomas Pannone, after me talking not so great about him yesterday about giving up the run to lose the game in extra innings, he goes out there today. Now, ideally, you look at last year's totals, 2 of his really good starts were against Baltimore, so he must have the number of the Orioles, as a lot of teams probably do. However, the Baltimore, I think they're 3-1, though, are the Baltimore Orioles this year, am I right? Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not going to bash them right now, because Thomas Pannone does go 4 shutout innings, gives up 1 hit, 1 walk, and he strikes out 5 guys. And I'm not talking about the burger joint. So, he does a good job. Sam Gaviglio gives up the home run to Trey Mancini, but he does go 3 innings, and that's the only hit he gives up. He doesn't walk a batter, and he strikes out 4. So, if you look at it, your bullpen guys, I'm going to say that because Pannone and Gaviglio kind of are starters as well, they gave you 7 innings of 1-run ball. It's just the Jays' offense in the first 6 innings couldn't get anything going, and I question the Orioles' decision for taking out David Hess, who was having a no-hitter into the 7th inning, not even at 90 pitches, and they take him out, and the rally starts cooking for the Jays. Didn't really make any sense there, but it was great to see resilience by the Jays to get back into the game. Unfortunately, it came up short. The Jays are now 2-3 on the year. Again, like we've talked about, wins and losses, you don't look at that stuff. You don't. You look at the box score, you watch the games, you see the goods, you take those and you run with them. Because that's all there is. Grichuk, 2 for 4 today. Good job. Gaviglio, Pannone, they were good today. Rowdy had a hit today. That's good to see. Hernandez got an RBI triple. Good to see. You take that and you move on. Tomorrow's ball game, guys, is probably going to be different than today's game. That sounded totally weird. But, Mark, you know what I mean is, you have a guy he knows he's starting tomorrow in Marcus Stroman, coming off that 7-inning shutout performance against the Tigers in the season opener last week. He's on the mound against Andrew Kashner, who started the year he opened the season against the New York Yankees, and it didn't go too well. An ERA of 13.5 for Andrew Kashner. But don't look at the ERA. You focus on the Jays. You focus on what they need to do to win tomorrow. And in my eyes, well, I'm going to use Mike Babcock quote, start on time. Get a run early. Get a lead early. Don't have to come back in a game. And don't make Marcus Stroman throw 7 shutout innings and get a no decision. I want to see this guy get a win because he deserved it from the last game. All right? And Game 3 of the series, guys, goes on Wednesday afternoon. It's a 4:07 first pitch at Rogers Center. It's Matt Shoemaker on the mound. I mean, he's looking for another shutout performance. I don't expect it again, but he went 7 shutout innings in his first outing. So for the Jays, yeah, you lost Game 1. You still have an opportunity to win the series. 2 of your good pitchers are on the mound in the next 2 games of the series. All right, so you know what? That is going to do it for this one, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and you guys enjoyed more or less the 7th inning and onward for the Toronto Blue Jays, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. And the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below, guys. What'd you think of the game, the video? Who'd you like? Who'd you not like? Also, your thoughts on this team early on. I want to hear your guys' thoughts towards everything that's going on Blue Jays-wise and all that. All right. And Evan and I will talk to you guys. Podcast edition is going to be Wednesday afternoon. Link is in the description for the podcast channel, guys, and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up. Send me a DM. Do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys the Raptors edition. All right, as they play on Wednesday night in Brooklyn, taking on the Nets. A possible round 1 matchup there. 7:30 tip-off at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn All right. And as for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they play tomorrow night as they welcome the Carolina Hurricanes to Scotiabank Arena. I will be at that game tomorrow night, so that video will be uploaded a little bit later than usual. Just giving you guys the heads up there. And, I mean, and as for the Blue Jays, they look to get back into the win column after a couple tough losses here in the finale against Detroit and Extras, and then the come from behind loss, really, to the Baltimore Orioles tonight. And Andrew Kashner and Marcus Stroman are the starters tomorrow night, 7:07 first pitch at Rogers Center. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.